Fundamentals 16, stances: open, neutral, or square stance, and closed stance. Besides the terms open and closed being used to describe your racket face orientation, it is also used to describe your stance. There's a neutral stance, also called a square stance, which is when you're standing with your side toward the net and you're facing one of the side fences, depending on whether you're hitting a forehand or a backhand. If you're hitting a forehand, my side is to the net, my left side's to the net. This is called a neutral or square stance. You square your right angles. Your right angles to the net. Square. Same thing on backhand. Backhand, you're hitting a backhand and your right side's to the net. That's called a neutral stance. An open stance is one in which you're at least partially facing the net. To be more precise, you could use the term semi-open if you are only partially facing the net, and fully open if you're totally facing the net. If you're discussing both, you could use open instead of fully open. But if not, an open stance generally refers to the full range. Went from neutral stance to talking about an open stance. Fully open is if I'm facing the net and I try and hit from my body facing the net. Same thing backhand, open, fully open stance. Semi-open stance for a forehand, you may step to get the ball, and then go to hit it. So your feet aren't like this for a neutral stance. They're not like this, fully open. Here, that's a semi-open. You're like facing this right side fence a little bit and the net a little bit. That's a semi-open stance. Same thing on the backhand. You go to hit one and you step. You can be semi-open and hit a backhand. The closed stance is one in which you're at least partly facing away from the net. As a memory aid, you can think of approaching someone to have a talk, and if they at least partially turn toward you, you might expect them to be open to talking to you. Whereas if they turn away from you, they are probably closing the door on having a talk. So closing the door, closed, open, open. So basically, somebody calls your name, they look up at you and say, "I'm open to hearing what you have to say." If they call your name and they go like, "Yeah," they're closed to what you have to say. All three stances have their place. The one you probably see the most in pro tennis is the open stance. You will also see a neutral stance a fair amount in two situations. If a pro has to run laterally to get to the ball and get set before hitting it, their side is naturally toward the net and they'll end up with a neutral stance. If they have to get to the ball, they're going toward the ball, and then they can basically, if they can get there in a reasonable amount of time, if it's not coming too fast, they can set up and hit with a neutral stance because they turn to go to get it and they're basically standing sideways because they're walking that direction or running that direction to get to the ball. And if the ball comes toward them relatively slowly, they'll want to have a significant backswing to generate power for the return, because the slow incoming ball doesn't provide much power. It's hard to have a big backswing if you have a fully open stance. So for example, if somebody hits me a backhand and it's coming slow. It's coming slow, I go to hit it. If I don't turn my feet, if I stay in an open stance, if I don't move my upper body especially, I can't get a backswing. If I move my upper body, then I can get more of a backswing, but it's a bit of a stretch and it's really twisting your body. So it's a little bit hard on your back. If you have time, if it's a slow ball and you need a big backswing to get power back into the shot, get sideways. You can get a big backswing without much effort. My upper body isn't twisting a lot to get that backswing. And if the ball is coming to you relatively slowly, you'll have time to change to your neutral stance. You will see a closed stance once in a while, again in two situations. If your opponent lobs the ball over you and you have time to run back to get it, in which case you are naturally facing away from the net. So I run back, and then I go to turn around. Well, let's say I'm going to hit a forehand, it's probably the more likely. I go back, and then I've got a closed stance because I'm running away from the net. And if you're running laterally and arrive at the ball just in time to hit the ball, when your front foot, the foot closest to the net, is just step forward, that's the other case. So I'm running full tilt for the ball, trying to hit a forehand, and so I get to the ball just in time. You know, my very last step, I'm stretching fully on all my steps. They're all fully stretched, And when I get to the ball, if my left foot happens to be the one closest to the ball, that's a closed stance.